Let me paint you a picture. The Kansas City Chiefs are once again the number one offense in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes is once again dissecting defenses like it is the most natural thing in the world. Andy Reid is once again taken a reshuffled personnel group, rebuilt the chemistry, and is averaging 30 points per game like it is nothing. And they are once again sitting at the top of the AFC while everyone else is scrambling to figure out how to slow them down. Stop me if you have heard this before. But what I want to do in today's video is actually show you the specific thing the Chiefs are doing schematically that is making them so impossible to stop. Because this is not just Mahomes being Mahomes, although that is obviously part of it. There's a very specific strategic wrinkle that Reid and his staff have deployed this season that is exploiting a coverage concept that has been dominating the rest of the league. And once you understand it, you will never watch a Chiefs game the same way again. Let's get into it. To understand what the Chiefs are doing, you first have to understand what they are doing it against. This season, the single biggest reason passing output across the entire league has dropped is the widespread adoption of what is called the Fangio cover six concept, named after longtime defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. This coverage has become the go-to answer for defensive coordinators trying to slow down the modern passing game. Mahomes himself was a victim of it last year, and as more and more teams have incorporated it into their base defense, quarterbacks around the league have genuinely struggled to solve it. So understanding how it works is the first step to appreciating how brilliantly the Chiefs have cracked it. Cover six starts pre-snap with what looks like a two-high shell, two safeties deep, both visible before the snap. The entire point of showing that look is to immediately eliminate the deep ball. The defense wants to force the quarterback to be patient, to work underneath, to take what is given rather than push the ball vertically. The corners will often align high and off the receiver, which signals to the quarterback that he is looking at a four-high coverage look and encourages him to check it down. But here's the sophistication of it. The defense is actually playing split field principles underneath that two-high presentation. To the strength of the formation, the side with more skilled position players, the defense plays cover four, which gives them zone coverage with four defenders responsible for deep quadrants of the field. To the weak side, they play cover two, a two deep zone with flat defenders underneath. The result is a defense that always appears to have an extra man. No matter how you try to outnumber them in the passing game, the Fangio six seems to account for it. Teams can match crossing routes, handle floods, and take away vertical concepts with a level of structural consistency that other coverages cannot match. If you want a deeper breakdown of how this coverage works in detail, we covered it extensively in a previous video on the 49.rs defense. I will link that at the end. Now, here is where it gets really interesting, and this is the heart of what the Chiefs have been doing. Andy Reid's answer to the Fangio six has been to push his offensive formation splits to their absolute extreme limits. Specifically, the Chiefs have been lining up repeatedly in what is called a 1-to-4 split, meaning one skill position player on one side of the center and four on the other. And this formation, which you see regularly in college football, but almost never in the NFL, due to the rules requiring 7 men on the line of scrimmage with both tackles covered, has become a central weapon in Kansas City's offensive game plan this season. The reason the 1-to-4 split is so effective against the Fangio six specifically comes down to math. The coverage is built around having an extra defender to account for the strength of the formation. When you align in a traditional set, the defense can use its standard rules to maintain that numerical advantage. But when you spread four receivers to one side and drop one to the other, you negate the numbers advantage. The quarter side of the coverage depends on, suddenly the defense cannot just follow its rules and expect to be in good shape, and you have changed the math on them. And now passing into those zones is genuinely viable, whether you are attacking the space underneath in the zones or getting creative with route combinations over the top. Let me walk you through some specific examples because this is where it becomes concrete. Against the Titans, the Chiefs come out in a bunch look with Justin Watson motioning back and forth before the snap, specifically to help identify the coverage. The defense rotates into the covered 6 with quarters to the 4 split side, and the Chiefs have a perfect call designed to attack it. Using Watson's motion as a key, he releases to the flat as the Chiefs roll the pocket. The presence of Kelsey, Juju, and Pacheco running into the zone forces the linebacker at number 28 to pinch inside, and Mahomes fires it quickly to the flat for easy yards. It is clean, it is efficient, and it is a direct result of the formation forcing the defense into an uncomfortable structural position. Here it is again against the Chargers. Kelsey returns in motion to give the quarterback pre-snap information, and the Chiefs are again in a 1-to-4 split. Look at the backside. The space for the slant is enormous. With the defense focused so heavily toward the bunch side of the formation, the cornerback on the single receiver side has to play with inside leverage and essentially protect against anything quick inside. Mahomes delivers it like a gift, perfectly placed between the numbers. 3 yards becomes 6, 6 becomes a first down, and the defense has given up the play without technically doing anything wrong against their own rules. That is what makes this so difficult to solve. Now, of course, defensive coordinators are not going to sit there and let their zones get carved up without making adjustments. And the most common adjustment when teams see the 1-to-4 split is to abandon zone coverage entirely and play man-to-man. The logic makes sense. If you cannot rely on zone structure to handle the numbers imbalance, you just put a body on a body and play. But here is where Andy Reid is, 3 moves ahead again, with 4 receivers condensed to one side of the field. Pick routes and rub concepts are extremely easy to manufacture in a confined space. Man coverage in a bunch set is notoriously difficult to play, even when the offense is running standard concepts. The Chiefs are not running standard concepts. So here's a beautiful example. Kelsey comes in motion to complete the 1-to-4 bunch set, and the Chiefs receiver follows him in coverage, immediately confirming man coverage for Mahomes. At the snap, the front stack releases create a natural rub with the outside player picking off the corner, trying to chase Kelsey inside. Kelsey cuts back on the Texas route. The defender is swimming through traffic, and Kelsey walks into the end zone completely uncovered. The defense did everything technically right in their individual assignments. The formation simply made it impossible to execute those assignments without interference. And when teams try to correct for the bunch by overplaying the pick routes, playing off coverage, trying to give receivers space to avoid getting tangled, the Chiefs immediately exploit it the other way. Here they are in a condensed bunch from the 1-to-4 set, running a deep crossing concept with Valdez-Scantling clearing the top and Kelsey running the over route between the levels. The Jaguars have no crossing rule adaptation in their call, and Kelsey runs through the gap between the deep coverage and the underneath defender is completely untouched. Mahomes puts it on him in stride. This is not an accident. This is Reid identifying that the Jaguars had not installed a specific rule for handling crosses out of this look and attacking it mercilessly. One of the other layers to the 1-to-4 concept is the ability to use it as an information gathering tool through motion. The Chiefs will frequently start in the 1-to-4 set and then motion a player away from the bunch to see how the defense rotates. If a defender follows the motion, it is man coverage. If the defense rotates their zones, it is zone. And Mahomes uses that information before the snap to know exactly where the advantageous throw is before the ball is ever snapped. Against the Bills in one sequence, the Chiefs start in the bunch, bring Juju in motion, and nobody follows confirming zone. Kelsey reads the coverage himself from the backfield and immediately understands he is looking at cover 6. He pushes his stem hard to keep the safety in a back pedal, then hooks into the space in the intermediate level. Mahomes is already looking at him, and the ball's there before the safety can break on it. That is not just a scheme winning. That is two football minds, the quarterback and the tight end, reading the defense the same way at the same time and executing without a word spoken. Now, the natural extension of the 1-4 set is the numbers game in the running game and in the quick passing game. When you have four receivers bunched to one side, you are inherently creating a matchup situation where the defense has to choose between guarding the run and guarding the pass simultaneously with the same personnel. The Chiefs have been particularly effective with motion into a diamond set where the receiver goes in full sprint motion toward Mahomes before the snap, stops all his momentum, catches a quick screen, and bounces back outside around his blockers before the defense can process what is happening. Against the Raiders, this leaves 3 blockers for 2 defenders at the point of attack, and the Chiefs are gaining 4 to 5 yards before anyone can react. And the RPO elements out of the 1-4 set amplify all of this further. With 4 receivers to one side, the defense simply does not have enough bodies to guard the pass and the run simultaneously. Against the Chargers in one sequence, there are only 3 defenders positioned to guard the bunch side. No one is positioned to fight through the releases. Mahomes reads it immediately and throws the quick screen to Kelsey, who is already one-on-one with a linebacker with a full head of steam. The Chargers defense gives up the flat. If teams then overcommit to taking away the quick screen by sending the linebacker out earlier, Mahomes hands the ball inside into a lighter box. The same formation, the same motion, the same pre-snap look, and the defense is wrong either way. Here's what the Chiefs do when teams send extra pressure to try to disrupt all of this. They hand the game to Pacheco, who has been particularly dangerous in space out of these sets when the box is light. With a 4-receiver surface threatening to one side, getting an extra hat in the box becomes structurally difficult. The linebacker, who would typically be your run support, is now potentially in conflict with covering a receiver. Pacheco cuts off the hip of the pulling lineman, and there is nothing between him and the first down marker. And then when you have accounted for everything, the quick screens, the RPO, the deep crossers, the run game, when you have your defense positioned perfectly, your coverage rules correct, your leverage right, your technique sound, Patrick Mahomes simply refuses to let you be right. Here he is against the Titans on 3rd and long. The defense drops into a deep cover 6, trying to make him force something into a tight window. The pressure comes off the edge, forcing Mahomes out of the pocket. Every receiver downfield is covered. Every option beyond the sticks is bracketed. Mahomes begins moving right, keeps moving, keeps extending the play, keeps looking. And then while 6 coverage defenders have overrun their assignments and flooded one side of the hash marks, he cuts back, escapes a 2-arm tackle attempt, and converts a first down because he was simply not willing to accept that the play was over. And here he is again, 1-4 set, mesh concept designed to split the zones and get the underneath crosser open. Max Crosby beats the right tackle and forces Mahomes off his spot at the top of his drop. He steps up, more pressure comes. He spins off a hit from Chandler Jones. And somehow, with a defender's hand literally on him, he gets his arm through and puts the ball precisely between the numbers on the receiver's jersey downfield. You cannot coach that. You cannot scheme for that. That is a level of playmaking that exists in an entirely different category from everything else we have talked about today. And then, of course, there is Travis Kelce, who on any given play can turn a well-defended concept into a touchdown simply through vision, footwork, and an understanding of the entire field that most receivers never develop in a full career. On a mesh concept against the Raiders, the play is designed to open Hardman for the score. Crosby wins his rush again and forces Mahomes to bail. Kelce reads the over pursuit happening because everyone is tracking Mahomes, finds a soft spot, takes a throw, pivots immediately against the grain, sets up two blocks in sequence, puts the safety on skates with a shimmy, and scores. The play was defended well. It did not matter. What the Chiefs are doing right now on offense is the product of multiple things happening simultaneously. The most creative, offensive-minded football, adapting a formation concept to specifically target the most popular coverage in the league. A quarterback who can execute any concept at the highest possible level and then invent solutions when the concept fails, and a tight end who operates as a second offensive coordinator on the field in real time. The 1-to-4 split is a specific answer to the Fangio 6. The creativity within it is the answer to everything else. And the NFL is absolutely a copycat league, which means other teams are going to try to replicate what Kansas City is doing here. But replicating the scheme without the people who run it is not really replicating anything at all. There is only one Andy Reid. There is only one Patrick Mahomes. There is only one Travis Kelce. And right now, watching them operate together against a league full of coaches desperately searching for answers is one of the great pleasures of being a football fan. I hope you enjoyed today's breakdown. Until next time, please be safe and have a great day.